Good afternoon and welcome to Leeds Tax News. I'm Holly Green.
And I'm Beth Kilgallen. Here's a look at today's headlines.
Engineer says O2 service failure is costing him work.
Leeds Tax speaks to an eyewitness of a drugs raid in Hyde Park.
A special shop for people with special needs opens in Leeds.
An engineer has told Leeds Tax he's out of work following O2's phone network crisis last week. Contracts have been frozen for many, both in Leeds and across the country. Our reporter Chris Nichols has more.
Hundreds of telecom engineers are currently out of work after O2's entire European network failed last week. Self-employed engineers with contracts of up to 12 months have been frozen across the country, leaving many workers jobless during the Christmas period.
Well, it wasn't really my fault. It was an external contractor. It was their fault that we've all been laid off because they rolled out a software update in the middle of the night, and obviously had a bug in it that affected all the all the towers. So down to their testing procedure or lack of it, it's cost all the engineers the jobs over Christmas. So now I've got engineers out all over Europe because they're all contractors. They're not employees. So short-term contracts, which affects everyone. And now you can't. There's things like universal credit and stuff, so you can't just get like emergency money over Christmas. So basically, we're not going to have any work for at least 2 weeks, maybe longer. It could go on longer. I might have to look for employment. It's hard to get jobs over Christmas. People aren't taking people on over Christmas. Money's tight for everyone.
O2 have issued a response online following several complaints from customers across social media. The network apologised for the inconvenience caused over the week and says it is working to resolve the problem quickly. Chris Nichols reporting for Leeds Tax News.
Over the weekend there were 2 drugs raids on houses in Hyde Park. One of the raids resulted in 2 suspects being arrested after the police seized money and drugs.
The area just outside the city centre is no stranger to crime, with antisocial behaviour reports and sexual assaults being amongst the highest in Leeds. Jay Partington has this report.
Hyde Park is a thriving student area, but within the district, drugs have always been an issue. With more dealers on the streets, more drugs are in circulation, leading to more police coverage. Georgia Hughes gives her account on her neighbours being raided.
So at the weekend, me and my boyfriend lying in bed, it must have been 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and then all we heard was like a massive bang from next door. So we went out to the other room in the house, looked outside the window, and there was 2 massive police vans outside, and we were really confused because we've always known next door has been into a bit of the bad substances, put it that way. And we just saw 2 of the housemates from next door being pulled out into the vans. During Freshers Week, we would walk down to the co-op, for example, and you'd get 5 or 6 cards from drug dealers just handing them to you, which is very odd for me because I'm from a little town back in Manchester, so I've never seen that sort of culture before. So when I came here and I saw these cards being handed out, I didn't even clock that it would be drugs. I just came home and was like, oh, look at this, I got given a card. And then you get people knocking on doors, and you never know what people are doing. Like, you never know if they're going to go and pick up something or whether they're dropping something off. Like, you just don't know.
It seems that this raid may be one of many as the police try to crack down on drugs in one of Leeds' worst areas. This is Jay Partington for Leeds Tax News.
Equality groups say depressing figures reveal racial bias in practical driving examinations.
The data by the Guardian newspaper has revealed that women and people of colour are significantly less likely than white men to pass UK driving tests. Figures by the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency show that black women had the lowest pass rate of 32%, whereas white men had the highest at 56%.
I don't think it's a colour issue. I find, I've done the job 36 years, that women in general, in strange circumstances, because the examiner is a stranger to them, that I feel that they find it difficult to make decisions under pressure, where the young men tend to be more confident in those situations. I've also noticed that women tend to have smaller feet than men, and when women have sort of got a size 3 or a 4 foot, they find it difficult to work the clutch. So if it should be that they were driving an automatic, I think their figures would probably be far higher than what they are now.
Official figures have revealed that knife crime offences have risen to the highest level since 2010.
In the past year, there has been over 21,000 knife-related crimes in the UK. Emily Hamilton from Leeds told us how she was a victim of knife crime.
Well, I was just coming back from the shop up on Royal Park Road and was with my girlfriend. Just said goodbye to her, kissed her, and then I was just walking back down here. I saw this guy in the distance kind of looking weirdly, and then suddenly this guy came and he was shouting horrible, really offensive gay terms at me and stuff, and shoved me up against the wall and scratched my arm and then threatened me with a knife. Proper threatened me. But then I just pushed him off and just ran home. Yeah, he looked quite young as well. It's probably because it's so accessible now, so easy to get them. Everyone has a knife these days.
Did you know that the average cost of a funeral is around £4,000? Well, it won't surprise you to know that the funeral business has come under scrutiny recently after a watchdog investigation found that pricing has risen more than 60% in the last 10 years. With fears this may exploit the vulnerable, independent funeral directors Radcliffe's believe not all funerals have to be expensive. They blame a lack of regulation.
A lot of it is down to no regulation, so there's no cap on prices. Anyone can charge really what they want to charge, and there's nothing to say they don't have to. So that's a big part to play in the increase in costs. There's absolutely no cap on anything. It's more just whatever people feel that they want to charge and they're able to, they will do. The funeral industry does get a bit of a bad rep for taking advantage of people. There is no good time to arrange a funeral. Christmas time it's probably the worst time of the year. And we do get a bit of a bad rep because it seems to be, funerals are expensive, as it were. You see the articles. I don't think people do take advantage. The funeral costs what it costs. It doesn't matter when it happens.
Leeds City Council have announced they've cut 74 jobs next year as part of plans to save £16 million before 2020.
The announcement follows the news that the council tax is likely to rise by 3.99%, which the council says is vital to support and protect essential frontline services. Councillor Judith Blake, leader of Leeds City Council, said, "Raising council tax is never a decision we take lightly, but due to the funding cuts it helps make an increasingly important contribution and is being stretched more and more each year to pay for frontline services." There has been a big rise in students who are being forced to spend Christmas alone. Price rises for flights and trains around the Christmas period have resulted in many students remaining in their halls of residence alone for Christmas Day. Universities are being urged to do more to create a sense of community between the remaining students within the city. Facebook groups have since been set up to bring together those who have been left behind.
Leeds Council is to meet next week to decide whether to become the first in the country to offer free sanitary products to people who can't afford them. One councillor told Leeds Hacks that she supports the idea.
It came to light 2-3 years ago. We had a situation where we've got people using food banks, unfortunately. We've got the government's austerity agenda and as a result can't afford basic needs and one of those basic needs is sanitary protection. We're running focus groups within schools, so girls and boys within schools and also in the communities and what we're trying to do is consult with our communities and our schools on the best distribution model because we're the first council in England to do this. We've got a big problem with girls not going to school for maybe 3 or 4 days every month because they can't afford adequate sanitary protection. So as a result we've got a cycle that girls' attainment and achievement is dropping. And of course we're not supplying products to everybody in the city, it's just the people we know who need it. Sanitary products are classed as luxury items, which is ridiculous because it's a necessity that people need every month. As a result of that, VAT is charged on them, VAT is charged on them. There's an exec board meeting next week where a paper will be taken to exec board explaining what we're trying to do, explaining the scheme and how we're going to address this in Leeds, and then hopefully the exec board will pass that paper and then we'll be able to roll it out into the first quarter of next year.
Students across Leeds have come together to open a pop-up shop in Kirkgate Market to give people with special needs a chance at work experience.
Handcrafted items are sold for £5 each and it's open till the 14th of December. Emily Stables reports.
Specialist inclusive learning centres have come together to create pop-up shop Compass House in Leeds Kirkgate Market. They aim to raise money for their schools to pay for trips and days out. Students have crafted the Christmas gifts and are selling them to the public.
So we've all come together, there's different silks across Leeds, so we've all come together to design some Christmas products that we can sell to the public, so all the students have helped to make them all themselves.
As well as raising money, Compass House are also helping students prepare for the future.
Good for work experience as well for our older students, because they're getting to learn about how to handle money and work and how the other life live on the outside when they get older and they have to go into work and things like that. So it's really good for the older students.
This is Emily Stables reporting for Leeds Hacks News.
What a lovely story that is. What a way to help the community.
Absolutely. That's all from us at Leeds Hacks News. Goodbye.